Claude Moniquet,
you're a former agent in the French intelligence services and now director of the ESISC Institute in Brussels. Mohamed Merah is dead and there are still a lot of unanswered questions, notably what was his real connection with Al-Qaeda? In your opinion, was he controlled and part of the jihadist movement? The one thing that suggests Merah was part of the jihadist global network is his lifestyle and his limited financial resources. He was a young man who had a monthly income of about 400 euros, but was able to rent a couple of cars a month, could buy weapons, numerous weapons in actual fact, chemical products to build explosives, as well as pay his rent. So the obvious question for detectives is, where did this money come from? Was he part of a terrorist group? I have my doubts. He may well have had Islamist sympathies and was attracted to Al-Qaeda. That corresponds to the profile of a lone wolf. Have these so-called lone wolves started replacing terrorist cells? No, they haven't replaced the network, they add to it. In fact, today, when we speak about the Al-Qaeda movement, there are three main threats. The first threat is a massive attack like we saw on September the 11th, which can only be organised by people who have the brains, money, means and time. That is the heart of Al-Qaeda. The second danger is splinter groups based in North Africa, Saudi Arabia, Yemen and Somalia, which are able to attack local interests and foreigners there and in Europe. For example, the attacks in Madrid a few years ago in response to Spain's military presence in Iraq. The third risk is homegrown terrorists like those in the UK, terrorists that are born and live in the country. These are the lone wolves. These young Islamists are trained in Afghanistan and Pakistan. How many do you think there could be in Europe? Do you have an idea of the scale of the problem and which countries face the biggest threat? This is very difficult to estimate. In France, probably a few dozen people have the potential to become lone wolves. In Europe, only a few hundred people can become lone wolves or join a terrorist cell. It's suspected Mohamed Merah became self-radicalized mainly through the internet. These sites are known and under surveillance. Has France failed in this area? These sites are regularly taken offline once they have been spotted, but they can change daily. They change address. They also exchange addresses on closed forums and are hidden behind other activities. They're very difficult to follow. Finally, what's the difference between Mohamed Merah and Anas Breivik, apart from the differing ideologies? I think there are some points in common. We have two psychopaths in front of us. What differentiates them is their ideology and the danger in the ideology. Breivik sees himself as a neo-Nazi. In Europe, they are fewer in number and they are under close surveillance. We also think they are less likely to commit such atrocities. Unfortunately, there are many more radical Islamists and the risk they pose is statistically much higher.
Merci.